Hey all you Splinterheads, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for dropping by. Welcome aboard. The more the merrier. I'm Bronze Dragon. I like to cover Splinterlands topics on a weekly basis, usually a few times a week, depending upon how much is going on. And I hadn't really planned this one for this week. However, they dropped a little bit of artwork and news on us. I guess it's really not news because it's history, but for us folks that were not lucky enough to go to Splinterfest, it is news. So I just want to talk about it for a few minutes. This probably won't be really long. If you were lucky enough to go to Splinterfest, you saw this information on a panel there if you went to that panel. I guess my main topic in this episode is artwork. And discuss it a little bit because it really piqued my interest because the artwork in the new upcoming Rebellion set is decidedly of a different flavor. And as we all know, artwork is completely subjective, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you meh, you know, whatever about it. It's a very subjective topic. So just keep that in mind. I may like it, you may not like it. Either way, it looks like this is the way they're headed. With that said, I will post the link to this Peak D article in the show notes, and you can go to read it. So I'm not going to go through and read it. However, it's very nice in the fact that they go through and they're filling in the storyline. And I like a game with a good story. But I'm not one of those fanatics that sits there and reads through every single article and every single story and everything. But from what I read on this page, it's a nice filler story, so it's worth reading. And like I said, I'm not going to read through the whole thing since my main topic tonight is the artwork. So let's take a few steps back first, and let's go over and discuss where the artwork started. Okay, I have this sorted just by alpha, and one of the main things that draws me to card games, and I've been playing, I played Magic the Gathering from the mid 90s. If you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, at the end of Unlimited when Revised started. So that's when I played, and I played for several solid years, and I had a huge collection. One of the main things that drew me to the card game was the artwork and the variety of styles, because you could decidedly tell the difference between the different artists. On those cards, a lot of them, they did sign their names and or initials or put their special symbol or something, but you could decidedly look at the art style on the card and you could tell who that was after you'd been playing for a while. And you got to the point, well, I got to the point where I had my favorite artists. And I collected some cards, not necessarily because they were great cards, but because I liked the art, I liked the artist. So with that said, we can see where the evolution of the game started. And they started by basically making the artwork of the cards look like actual physical cards, with the white borders turned up like paper. The pictures of the actual monsters are smaller. The borders were kind of basic. The lettering was smaller. Got to start somewhere, right? Now, as time evolved, or time went on, and we went to beta, with most of them, they took the pictures of the actual monsters. They made them bigger. They took away the card border in the fact that it no longer had the turned up edge, look like paper and such. And they put in a basic colored border around. And then they included some basic things here at the bottom, like clouds, leaves, tree branches, things like this. But the main overall thing is they made the actual artwork a lot bigger. Okay, they made the fonts a lot bigger. They made the symbols bigger. So now we move ahead, and I'll skip the promo and the rewards, but you move ahead to Untamed, and you see the addition of a lot more colors. You can see that we have a variety of different art styles that come into the mix. we see that the borders of the cards are a lot more elaborate and they stand out a lot more. I didn't go in and I didn't measure it, but the fonts look relatively the same size as betas. But the main difference is that border and the background behind the symbols and such. We continue to move ahead. Dice was with Untamed, and they have the same types of borders. But then we go to Chaos Legion. Now, the borders were thinned down on the side. They were not completely stripped out, but they were thinned down to, once again, enlarge and focus on that main character to make that bigger. We can see this in the ongoing process. They're making the artwork featured a lot more than actually just trying to make it look like a card. They're trying to make it look like a piece of art. Okay, they've toned down the borders. They've taken the patterns and such out of the background. They've kept this actual bottom border very much the same across them, same shape, instead of having variety of things like trees and branches and clouds and such. So they've tamed down that, and I like this evolution. I think it's going in the right direction. You can also tell that, and this is not a slam on the original artists, but you can tell the art style has improved. Once again, like I said, this is all subjective. The skill, and I'm not an artist. Once again, I don't want to slam any of the artists, but you can tell that the artwork has improved. The style is improved. The skill is improved. This may be the same people getting better. This may be other artists, probably other artists coming on board during the large ramp up of last year. And then as we move forward to Rift Watchers, you see another change in style. So it kind of looks like they're, obviously Nate and his team are making it a, I don't want to say priority, but it's their aim to make each set look a little bit different, right? Not just the borders, right? Because we can also see that the borders down here are the same. The borders around them are the same as with Chaos Legion, right? But, and we don't have the patterns in the background. But what I'm talking about is the main artwork, the main characters. You can see this evolution, and it's more of an animation, and you'll get what I'm going at now. And especially look over at Ilthane, you can see it's a very anime. It's borderline anime style. Now, not a lot of these in this set. They're going towards the anime type style, but not a lot of them really. Like, look here, Watercolor, Ilthane. There's a few others that strike me as very anime inspired. Now, the reason I talk about this is because what was released today in the Coming Rebellion, and they have a video posted here along with some of the story lore, and this Our Style Evolution, it's short segment available. And once again, I'll put this link in the show notes. But they basically talk about the storyline, and then they go into the artwork. So, and like I had just previously went over a few minutes ago, the evolution of the frames. And that's really going to come into play because one of the big changes in the game is going to be that you can look at the sets, and whole sets will have one frame style. So you can tell which is modern, etc. So with that said, this is the new art style. So this will be what the Rebellion cards look like. And you can see that it's not just a small change, it's a massive change. And once again, they increased the size of the main character. So that main character fills up most of the card. You can see that they changed the symbols around as well. You can see the list on the left, minimalistic design, yes. Hardly no borders, right? Focus on character artwork, like I said, made him the majority of the card. Changed the stat bubbles, moved the rarity indicator. I'm pointing with my hand when I should be with the mouse cursor. Moved the rarity indicator up to the right-hand corner. Changed the experience bar here. It's still pretty plain, but changed that because the whole card is kind of plain. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They just pulled back, muted their colors down a little bit to me. They list graphic backgrounds, and I looked at the cards, and I'll pull back and I'll show you a few others, but they're just basic patterns. I don't know what their point to that was. Maybe because it was easy. I don't know. The only thing that I would say negative about this, well, I'll say two things. I think that the plain basic pattern, geometric pattern backgrounds take away from the art. I also am not a big fan of the real minimalistic card borders. Let's pull that up. It's a little bit bigger. I guess it's from my background in CCGs, because I've played a lot of card games over the years, and it seems like they're a dime a dozen, you know. When the first few big ones came out, like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that, then there was a slew of them that followed, right? And a lot of those cards had this same kind of borderline. Just a basic, real easy to produce, geometric border, and they didn't last. You bought a couple packs and they just were not around for long. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's just my thing. So overall, I think the artwork looks good, but you'll also see that it's a very anime-inspired let's go back to here. Very anime-inspired artwork. All the cards I've seen thus far that they have on this page look like anime, really. And then they go forward to say that they're going to actually animate the cards. So either they brought on some, either as a team they made the decision to go in kind of an anime direction, and they brought on some artists that were particularly suited for that job, or they had some artists that were already there that felt like doing something a little bit different and worked on their skills and were good at anime. So that's all guessing on my part. But either way, it looks like that whole set is going to be very anime derived. And like I said, they mentioned at the bottom that when you play the cards and they battle, the actual cards will be animated in some way. So, so that's really all I had to say. I mean, nothing good, nothing bad. I mean, it's just out there. It was a piece of news, and I was at work and I saw that it was noted on Discord. So when I got home, I wanted to jump on here and make a short video. So, with that said, thanks for stopping by. If you found this information interesting and you would like to hear more of it, please like and subscribe and ring that bell. Until the next time, I'll see you on the flip side.